Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Reed, and I'm honored to be here today as the mayor of the city of Montgomery. On behalf of our administration, the men and women who work for the city of Montgomery, as well as our city council and the residents of our city, we thank you for being here today. We're grateful to have this great occasion to swear in the 15th chief of the police department for the city of Montgomery, Chief Darryl J. Albert. And at this time, I want to welcome you to this oath of office ceremony that we'll be having. To begin the ceremony, I'm going to ask that Pastor Edward Nettles come forward for the invocation. Pastor Nettles.
Let us bow, please. O gracious and mighty God, we thank you for this amazing day. We thank you for our mayor, our city officials, all those distinguished guests who are gathered here today to celebrate the swearing in of our new police chief for the city of Montgomery. You have raised him up for such a time as this. We pray you would give him the discernment to raise up the right administration team around him. So we ask with your divine wisdom, you would lead and guide Chief Albert in his decision making. We pray also that everything his heart desire, I pray that you would release it to him. We're also praying for his family as they stand in prayer in support of him. This we humbly pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Jared Williams with the Montgomery Police Department. We will begin the ceremony this evening with introductory comments by Mayor Stephen L. Reed. Following Mayor Reed comments, I'll ask the Honorable Judge Johnny Hardwick to come forward and administer the oath of office. Mayor Reed, please stay here after the comments to join Judge Hardwick in administering the oath of office to the Chief of Police, Darryl J. Albert. After the oath of office, we will hear remarks from Chief Darryl Albert. Following Chief Albert's comments, we will take questions from the media.
Well, I feel like I said everything I needed to say last week, but it certainly bears repeating. That's right. Family was not able to be here then, and so were some others, members of the community as well. But I think we're here really to start a new chapter in our city. We just came from a meeting with a finalist for the superintendent of our public schools. And one of the things that I've shared with people over the last month, if not the last 6 weeks, has been the two most important hires that we'll make in this community are going to be police chief and the school superintendent. They run together. And there's so much that we're looking for in this community. There's so much potential and promise, I think, from the residents as well as those who work here, that these hires are important. And one of the things that we wanted to do and we sought out to do initially was to not really look for a police chief. We wanted to look for a leader of men. And we wanted to look for the best leader that we could and someone that could translate their leadership experience, their vision to the community across the board. Faith leaders, civic leaders, community leaders, grassroots leaders, to build the trust and transparency that's needed. We certainly had a great person doing that in the interim, folks with Chief Ramona Harris. And it's difficult to be interim because you don't know how far you can go and you don't know how much to see. And so you're kind of in a tough place. And so it's not easy to manage that. It's actually very hard. She did a fantastic job in that space. But as we cast a wide net, we really wanted to look for best in class. We wanted to look for someone that we felt could really touch all the points that were needed for law enforcement today. Again, I was with 9 other mayors earlier this morning in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and each one of them talked about the challenges facing their law enforcement departments. There are 4 openings in those law enforcement departments. Their retirements. It's challenging to recruit and retain people. It doesn't matter if you're in an urban community or a suburban community. We're asking law enforcement officers to be social workers. We're asking them to be guardians and warriors. We're asking them to take on numerous tasks that they're not always given the latitude to do. And so when you look for someone that can lead a group and an organization like that in this environment, they don't just grow on trees. You have to look hard, you have to look wide, and you have to look far, and that's what we did. And I believe that this community will benefit from the deliberation that we put into this search. We didn't do it all by ourselves. We had friends and colleagues who assisted us. I see one back here, Montgomery County Sheriff Derek Cunningham, who was very helpful. And anytime I called him to give me some feedback and advice, and in typical sheriff's fashion, it was always short and to the point, straight, no chaser. And so that's what you get in this business, and that's what we're looking for, because we know that we want to work with all of our law enforcement officials, whether they be county, state, and federal, in doing the things that are necessary, again, in a changing environment, in a changing community. And so when we first saw that Commander, now Chief Albert, was open to the possibility, we looked at his background and we looked at his resume. And not to stop there, having a number of friends in New Orleans that are in elected office, others that have served in city government, it didn't take very long to find out that the things we got were very positive about them. When people give you their references, they give you the people who they want you to call. I like to talk to people who you don't want me to call. And then you kind of find out, and when those things blend together, you know that you have something there. And that's what we found. And several things came to my attention very quickly. One was that his family was very important to him. His sense of calling to public safety and being a public servant was very important. There wasn't a lot of gray area there. He was very upfront and very frank about his belief in that. And I think coming from a family that has law enforcement in that, they understand it at a different level than certainly most of us. And when you look at his 32 years of experience, and you see what he has done both as a leader in law enforcement, his training, his desire to get better, his attention to detail, his willingness to look for those challenges and to find ways to solve some of the problems, it became very easy to see why he was so well thought of in the New Orleans Police Department. Someone who's an Army veteran, two sons, Darryl and Darren, his wife Chantal, who's also a New Orleans Police Department officer. All of these things were important. His resume was great. He served as commander of the Special Operations Division. He served at a time in the Major Crimes Unit when the murder rate was slashed drastically. And he was quick not to take all the credit for that. He talked about working with the community. He talked about working with the rank and file officers of how they did that. He talked about some of the things that he had to learn from. And so there was a sense of humility with dignity in his approach to leadership and what he had done over his career. And so what I got out of my conversation with him, and then certainly talking to former Chief Serpas and some of his other references, people who worked for him and worked with him in the police department, talking to the current mayor, Mayor Cantrell, and former Mayor Landrieu, was that there was a support level that you don't often find at levels of leadership, where people have to make tough decisions, where people have to challenge members in their department, members in their organization, not to be complacent and not to be comfortable. There was a sense of confidence from them that not only were we getting a great leader of men, but we were getting someone who would be a great community member. This is someone that I believe will be an anchor here in this community, and I think will not only be an asset to our police department, but will be an asset to the city, the region, and the state. And that's the type of person I believe that we've hired and we'll be swearing in here momentarily. But I just want to say this as I close. To the family, it is certainly, you're part of this celebration. You're part of this progress that has taken place. Chief Albert made that very clear to us, and he has been very consistent in saying what family means to him. And I think anytime you have a family member reach a level that's at the top of their career path, you ought to be proud, and you ought to be excited. And we ought to all feel the blessings that God has bestowed upon us to be in this moment. And so I want to say to you that you've done a great job of supporting him. You've done a great job, I think, in giving him great feedback. You've done a great job in making sure that he understands the vision that maybe other people see who don't wear the badge, who don't wear the blue. And all of those things, I think, have helped shape him as a leader, and one that we got when in our conversations and certainly in subsequent talks that I've had. And so I just want to say to you, congratulations as well. Please share in this moment. Please share in this occasion. And we look forward to you sharing him with the community of Montgomery. And the next time y'all come up here from New Orleans, please don't hesitate to stop by Castnet, Dookie Chase. Bring some crawfish. Bring some red beans and rice and some shrimp creole, and we can have an even better time then. All right? Thank y'all so much, and again, congratulations. And Judge, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. I am delighted to be called upon to share in this occasion where we welcome a new family to the city of Montgomery. Our census numbers are going up, I hope. And knowing the few people in New Orleans that the chief and I both know, I'm going to be delighted when I see Harry Cantrell, who's a judge there, and Alden McDonald, who really is the president of Liberty Bank, and we have a branch here, and former retired Judge Michael Bagnaris, and just tell them thank them for sending you to us, all right? Let me say that I'm not old, but I've been around this city a long time. I've had the occasion to work with many former police chiefs. I can recall some of the police department's history in Montgomery. And I can say to you, Mayor, that I hope you satisfied with your choice. For you see, in Montgomery, the police department has been the Achilles heel to the mayor. And so I'm hoping you fortified your Achilles heel with great armor. And listening to your process, I feel that you have. And so we trust you, we trust your judgment, and we know how you approach things. And so with that, we've got a lot of great comfort and satisfaction in your selection. I would also say, Chief, that I'm hopeful that your professionalism, your training, and your education permeates the Montgomery Police Department, and you infect your officers and staff with like professionalism. And I see quite a few of them on occasions, sometimes pleasant, sometimes not so pleasant, but always good. So on behalf of the Alabama Unified Judicial System, and as the presiding judge of the 15th Judicial Circuit in Montgomery County, I welcome you on behalf of all of our judges and our court staff and we certainly look forward to working with you. And we stand ready to assist in whatever manner that we can. Keep in mind that you don't always, I've served in this courthouse, the municipal court, and I try to get officers to understand that when you make the arrest, I think y'all affectionately refer to it as a collar, your job is pretty much done. Then another part of the process takes over, and you have to respect that part of the process. If a jury makes a determination to acquit someone, you have to accept that acquittal. If they decide to convict somebody of a lesser charge, you have to accept that. If a judge decides to grant a motion to suppress, you may or may not have to suppress that because you could always appeal. But we are like professionals, and we take our jobs very seriously too. And so we invest in education and training so that we can be the best that we can be. So with those remarks, I'm going to ask Mrs. Albert and any other family members to come forward who would like to come up with you. Just come on this side. Well, whomever he likes. This is the
Come over
chief.
here. Come over here.
He's in charge of this department.
And you come in the middle. Come in the middle. All right. And let the judge in.
Okay. Hey, look at this lovely. Okay. So, Chief, if you would, raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Darryl John Albert,
In the city of Montgomery, Alabama,
in the city of Montgomery, Alabama,
the state of Alabama,
the state of Alabama,
do solemnly
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and honestly
and honestly
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I'm about to enter,
of the office in which I'm about to enter,
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
that I will support
that I will support
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the state of Alabama,
the Constitution of the state of Alabama,
the Charter and ordinances of the city of Montgomery,
the Charter and ordinances of the city of Montgomery,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
At this time, if the media has any questions, we'll take them.
Thank you. Before we take those questions, I'll just make a little statement. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Mayor Reed for his confidence and trust in me to lead the men and women of the Montgomery Police Department. Mayor Reed has made it very clear to me that public safety is priority number one. So absolutely, Mayor Reed, I accept that challenge, and I will do my darn best to accomplish the best for this police department. Thank you very much. To the mayor's staff, Mr. Chip Hill, Denitra Shannon, Jamala Philwar, and a few others whose name escape me now, thank you. You've made this process very welcoming to me. Thank you very much. To the citizens of Montgomery, I look forward to working with you to make Montgomery a safe place to work, live, and play. I pledge to you that I will work diligently to make Montgomery safer and fun. I will employ intelligence-based policing to disrupt the criminal element. That's where we're going to start. I will build stronger collaborations between the City of Montgomery Police Department, state and federal agencies. That collaboration is a win for all of us. There's much more as we get into this, but I can assure you, you will see 21st century policing. That model is the best model in policing today. In closing, I'd like to say thank you to my friends, colleagues, co-workers, and of course, my family. You all have stood strong. You heard the mayor talk about that. And that decision, Mr. Mayor, we talked heavily about that on the decision and how that involvement with family is. I have folks from Atlanta here, Vancouver, Washington, Baton Rouge, the Metro New Orleans area, and I'm very proud that you all came here to support me in this endeavor. But make no mistake, it's just beginning. It's going to be tough, but I have full support of the mayor's administration and this community. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it, and I look forward to getting started.
Does anyone from the media have any questions?
Hearing no questions. I'm sorry. Okay. One, there's one. I tried to close it out.
Yeah, I know you did. Who's asking? That's a tough one. But let me talk about that. So my brother Marcel, about a 12, 13-year veteran with the New Orleans Police Department, a motorcycle officer, 2 years apart. At his death, he was 55, I was 57 at the time, about a year ago. And his widow was right here. She's right here. Very hard on the entire family. You know, being 2 years apart, growing up with a guy, being in his pocket for 55 years, being very, very close. We talked every day. And, you know, I talked about making a move here to Montgomery. I knew he would be here with me. As a matter of fact, there was no doubt that he would have relocated and made Montgomery his home. So yeah, this is touching. This is a tough time. I see my sisters here weeping, my brother. But no, thank you. Thank you for that question. Yes, ma'am. Well, some of the strategies, in doing my research on the crime in the Montgomery area, one of the things I want to start with is intelligence-based policing. You know, building solid cases, working with the feds and the state on RICO cases, getting that collaboration for state charges and mandatory sentencing. You know, being tough. You know, I talked about this last Monday. You know, we talk about being kind on community and tough on crime. That's the answer. You'll see us out in the community as this department will grow, and we will be tough on crime. There's just no doubt about it. Working with those state, local, and federal partners, building those collaborations, going out, making those RICO cases. Look, it's something to put a case in municipal court and even a misdemeanor. When you can push them to that federal status level where they get mandatory sentencing, and you can send that message that this is not going to be tolerated in this community, it's going to get around really fast. You know, when we make arrests and someone's sent to prison really close and their family get to visit them, and you know, they get to go back and forth, and it's kind of like they're not really separated. But when we work with the Bureau of Prisons and we're sending them to Wisconsin or Montana or to New Jersey, they're separated from their families as well. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to work with the Bureau of Prisons. We're going to work with the feds and the state on really disrupting this criminal element that's in Montgomery. Now, I know y'all not going to be this easy on me. If this is just a test, no, it's not. sir. Yeah. Okay.
Well, again, on behalf of the City of Montgomery, our City Council, good to see City Council Pro Tem Calhoun here. I don't think I'm missing any other council members. Fire Chief Jordan is here, a partner in public safety. Don't think Christina is here from our EMA. But we have so many other community stakeholders that are here. We want to thank you for being here. We want to thank you for you give every day that you've given even throughout this transition. And one of the things that Chief mentioned was really getting out into the community, really building those relationships and establishing the trust and transparency that we know is important and that's needed. It's got to be repaired. It's got to be restored, and people have to see that you're authentic about it. We believe in the community policing model, but we also believe that with that carrot, you also got to have a stick. And Chief has expressed some of the ways that we can utilize that, and some others he hasn't shared publicly yet. So we're not going to give away the whole game plan, but I think that it's important for those who wear the badge to understand that you have someone who understands your position, who's been in your position, whose family is in your position and has been in that position. They know what your families deal with. He wants to cut back on overtime so you don't have to work as much, but you can still bring home what you're used to bringing home, but you can have more time with your families. So you can get that mental stress relief that you need. And he talked about some of those things and some of the stressors that those of us who've never been in your shoes probably don't understand. He understands that. And I think his leadership skills and his organizational capacity, and I think his caring for people overall, whether it's New Orleans or whether it's Montgomery, is something that will resonate not only internally within the department, but throughout our entire administration, as well as the overall community as a whole. So I look forward to what we're beginning here today officially. I look forward to what we'll see done, not only in terms of really reducing crime, but also encouraging young men and women to see a career path to policing, to fire, being a sheriff. We talked about that. And make sure they understand that they know who the real bad guys are, and they know who the good guys are. And I think that we'll see some things very soon that will show us the level of professionalism, will show us a level of leadership, but also compassion and intention that Chief Albert has. And for those who got a chance to talk to him, those who were part of the public panel that heard his agenda and heard his plans, they understand what I'm talking about, and the rest of the community will hear that subsequent to him sharing his vision with the police department as well. So with all that said, again, to the family, I want to say congratulations. Welcome to the city. It's now your home away from home, and hopefully it will be your home as well, as long as y'all bring some good food again. That's the only request I have. And we want you all to feel a part of this community, and I think the community will certainly make you feel a part of what we do here in Montgomery. So thank you so much. Congratulations. And we bid adieu, and we offer safe travels to everyone. Thanks so much, and we hope to see everybody. Bye-bye.